What if you could take a flat vector illustration and instantly give more texture, more depth, and more of that handcrafted organic feel, all without using any raster effects? Sounds pretty good, right? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I create my very own stipple brush textures inside of Adobe Illustrator, and then I'm going to show you two different techniques that I use to apply it to my illustrations. It's easy, it's versatile, and the best part is once you've created it once, you can use it forever across all of your designs. If that sounds good, then let's just dive straight into it. So here's the effect that we're going to be creating, and it's kind of like this soft dotted texture that fades naturally from sort of dense in the center to lighter around the edges. And it's just perfect for things like adding depth to your flat illustrations, or sort of creating some more of that sort of soft shading effect, adding that grain style sort of texture as well, or just sort of like making your artwork feel a little bit less digital. And the best thing about this is that it's still fully vector based, which means we don't have to worry about any sort of pixelation if we want to expand our designs or illustrations, which is just an amazing thing that we can do, just to add, you know, just some nice texture to your illustrations. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is head into Adobe Illustrator, which is obviously where we already are, and then we're going to head over to the left hand panel, and underneath the brush tool select the Blob Brush Tool. And for anyone who loves a shortcut, that is Shift B on the keyboard. I'm just going to zoom in here and come over here. So all we're going to be doing here is simply single clicking to create little circles in a little bit of a circular motion. Nothing fancy about it, but the whole idea here is that we want to try to make a sort of rough circle that we will then sort of blend together to make a brush. And a quick keyboard shortcut here that will help massively for you guys as well is to use the bracket key on the keyboard, which is going to be able to then change the size of your blob brush as you go. So the whole plan here is that we want to have smaller little dots along the outside with the bigger dots in the middle. So this is all I'm basically doing. Again, just getting lots of little clicks. It's not exactly a perfect circle, but it's fine, it'll do. So once I have this, what I'd like to do, just to add a little bit more of a denseness to the overall texture, is I'm going to duplicate this in front, and then just slightly rotate it just to give it a little bit more texture. Then I'm going to press Command F again, or Control F, and that's going to then create another version of it for me, and I'm going to give that another rotate in a slightly different direction, and there we go. So this is the overall effect that I'm going to be going with, and obviously come up with whatever kind of style that you want, and you know, just sort of play around with it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I've created many different versions of these in the past, so yeah, just come up with your own sort of style. Okay, cool. So now that we've got this, let's turn it into a brush. So let's first head up to Window and open the Brushes panel, and then we're just going to select everything and drag it into the panel. In the pop-up, we want to keep it as a scatter brush, and then this is going to be the important part. So this is going to be how we, you know, come up with the brush. So the first section is the size. Now, everyone's probably done it differently in terms of the actual size of the circles, so this is going to be something that you will kind of experiment with. I normally will just try at for 50% to start off with. If it's too big, then I can change it and stuff like that. It's all easily able to be edited at a later stage, which is great. The next one is spacing. Now for spacing, you want to keep this down at 10%, just because you want it to merge together so it feels like one consistent brush. I'll show you what I mean otherwise. If I keep this at 100%, 99, and then I just use the brush tool with this. As you can see, it's following the path, but you know, it's just not together. So obviously that's not what we want. We want it to merge all as one. So again, I can now double click into my scatter brush, and I'm going to drag this the whole way down to 10%. For scatter, I leave that at 0. We don't need to touch this. And then for rotation, I'm going to put that at random. And then I'm going to drag this the whole way to -180, and then do the same thing up to 180 on the other side. Then rotation wise, I want it to be relative to the path that I'm creating. And most importantly, the colorization method, we want this to be on Hue and Shift. And that way it means that we can actually change the color of the brush that we're creating. So now that you have this, maybe screenshot it if you didn't follow along. But when you're ready, then just press OK. And yeah, so now if I grab my brush tool and I draw just a simple brush, then there we go. We've got this nice sort of stipply textured effect, and I can easily come in and change this color to whatever I want to add to my illustrations. Pretty cool. And one thing also to bear in mind is that this is obviously just a stroke, so it does mean that you can quite easily change the size of your stipple effects just by changing the stroke weight, which is also really cool. But if you don't want to have to worry about that, then also you can simply just head back into your brushes panel and double click in, and then adjust your sizing within this section here to get it to the size that you want, which is again very helpful. I will apply that to this stroke. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to show you two different methods that you can use to add this into your own illustrations. And the reason why I've got two different methods is mainly around the intent of the illustration that I'm creating. So for example, if I'm choosing to print this out or sending it to printers that will need to scale up my design quite significantly, then there's a different method that I would use as opposed to something that's just going to be used over Instagram, social media, that's going to be more digital based. So I'm going to start off with method 1, which is going to be drawing inside shapes. Okay, cool. So for method 1, we're going to do the draw inside method. I'm just quickly going to show you that in my layers panel, I do have things sort of separated out. So as you can see, the Puma outline is separate to the fill. So obviously that's just more of a stylistic choice because I like to add my shadows and fills separate to the outline. So that's entirely up to you whether or not you choose to do that, but that's just sort of the method that I do for this sort of stuff. But I'm going to select one of the shapes that I want to add a texture to. And then as we go into the left hand panel, just below the fill and stroke option, there are three sort of icons, and we want to select the one on the right, which is draw inside. And all that's basically doing is creating a mask for your shape. So anything that we then draw inside it will remain within the parameters of that shape. And you can tell if you're in a mask because you then have these dashed lines that go around the shape that you've selected. So I'm just going to zoom in here, and I'm going to press B on the keyboard, which is going to select the brush. You don't have to use the brush, you can use a pencil, you can use the pen tool, you can use a shape, you can use basically anything that's going to create paths to use this brush. And then I'm going to just draw a line within the shape. Obviously you cannot see it at the moment, and that's because it's the same color. And sometimes it can be difficult to actually select the path after you've drawn it. So what I tend to do is then double click into the mask, which then allows me to easily select the path that I've just created. Then I'm going to just go up and change the color. And then as you can see here, I now have the stipple effect sitting within the parameters of my shape. So I can then change this to sort of a white color to add the effects of highlights. I can move it around, and then I can, just add some more highlights here, make it slightly longer, bigger. And as you can see, it's just sitting within the shape's parameters, which just makes things really helpful. I can then change the color, add a little bit of a shadow effect around the nose. So bring that out slightly. Yes, this is a really great method for if you're doing sort of digital design, because it's quick, it's easy, and you don't have to worry too much about expanding any of these paths, because if you're just using it for things like social media, then you don't need to worry about anything like that. But for method 2, this is more going to be how I would use these sort of textures if I need to send this off to a printer, and that's mainly because I need all of my strokes and fonts and everything to be expanded first before you send those off to printers. So let's dive into method 2. So I'm just going to grab this shape and I'm going to change the color to the darker option to start with, and then I'm just going to Command C and then Command F to paste a duplicate version in front of it, and then I'm going to change that back to the original color that I have. And from there, I'm then going to just draw my shape around where I want it to be placed. And again, obviously this is not adhering to any mask or anything like that, which is absolutely fine. And we don't have to worry about the color either, because the whole point of this is that we're going to cut it out of the shape on top. So once I've done this, I will head up to Object and Expand Appearance. And now, as you can see, this is all now a fill, no longer a stroke. So from here, I can then grab the sort of stippled effect that's been expanded along with the top shape. And then I'm going to head to the Pathfinder. If you don't know where that is, then just simply head into Windows and you can see Pathfinder is here. And I'm just going to select minus front. And what that's done is basically just cut the texture inside of the top shape, which now means that you then have some clean vector textures that sit just within inside the top object, which is great. And that's it. So you've now got yourself a fully custom vector texture brush, and you've got 2 different methods for how to use it. And now that you've made it once, you can then use it across all of your illustrations moving forward. I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, please drop a like, as it massively helps with the channel. And if you're into Illustrator tutorials or branding workflows, then please feel free to subscribe. And also let me know in the comments if you want to learn more of these sort of texture effects like this. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video.